Today I want to talk about how billions, if not trillions, of AMC synthetics have just been revealed directly by Sam Bankman-Fried on a Spaces call last night. I want to talk about what that means for AMC and what's happening now that FTX is gone. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I want to dive straight in with the key information. So Wall Street Silver tweeted saying, here's the part where SBF admitted last night that when customers were buying and selling Bitcoin on FTX, they weren't actually trading Bitcoin. Sam Bankman-Fried revealed directly that it was just a fake entry into their accounts at FTX, just simply a ledger number being increased or decreased whenever a customer made a trade. This is basically Sam Bankman-Fried admitting to creating synthetic bitcoins or fake bitcoins. These transactions never actually happened on the blockchain, and therefore these transactions were never actually processed. They were just fake transactions buying and selling fake Bitcoin. Now, if Sam Bankman-Fried is directly admitting to creating fake or synthetic Bitcoin, it also means that all other crypto coins or all other tokenized stocks and all other transactions were synthetic as well. And therefore, even though Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX had technically created 400 million AMC tokenized shares, he could have potentially sold many more than just the 400 million created. He's personally admitted they were selling fake Bitcoin, and therefore why wouldn't he also have been selling fake or synthetic AMC tokenized shares? So not only is there 400 million synthetic AMC shares given to FTX, there's potentially hundreds of millions, if not billions, if not trillions more synthetic AMC tokenized shares sold by FTX. And if FTX has sold billions of synthetic tokenized AMC shares, that also means that billions of synthetic AMC direct shares have been created and sold as well. But first, let's hear what Sam Bankman-Fried actually said and exactly what he admitted to.
Because that makes sense as to why there were no more Bitcoin to withdraw, where customers like that I know had Bitcoin balances, because those Bitcoin actually didn't exist, because it was just notional. You were just letting us buy notional tokens that didn't actually really exist.
Yeah, or another way of phrasing that.
Because otherwise you would have had to have the USDC somewhere.
Right. Yeah. I believe that what you're saying is in fact part of what happened.
So right there, Sam Bankman-Fried has admitted, and he said that is exactly what happened to creating synthetic and fake Bitcoins and selling them, and therefore creating and selling fake AMC tokenized shares as well. Now, in terms of how this is impacting AMC and what's happening to these AMC synthetics now that FTX is gone, we can see some of the results already. Obviously, as Frank Cassotti tweeted, he said, on the day that bittrex and FTX shut down these toxic derivatives, the cost to borrow spiked to an average of 314%. Obviously, this screenshot shows the cost to borrow minimum, maximum, and cost to borrow average up at 304%. I think on that same day it did fall slightly. The cost to borrow minimum, I think, fell to 100%, but the cost to borrow average remained up at around 300%. But not only that, we've just had the FTD data in for the first half of November when FTX failed, and we can see something very interesting happening with the AMC FTDs. We can see the FTDs for AMC increase dramatically. When did it happen? You got it, the very same day of the FTX collapse. And this user on Twitter said that it's more evidence that tokenized stocks were their infinite liquidity technique. We can see throughout late October and the very start of November, the AMC FTDs were only around 500,000, 200,000, sometimes only 50,000 FTDs on a single day. But at the time when FTX was going under, these FTDs spiked to 3.4 million and 4.3 million FTDs respectively. I also imagine when the second half of November data is released, we will see a further spike in the AMC FTDs, potentially up to 10, 20 or 30 million. It will be very interesting to see just how high these FTDs went, and very interesting to see what will happen on their respective T+35 day. And on top of that, as a result of the FTX collapse, we also saw Ape rocketing to the very top of the Yahoo list for the most shorted stocks. Frank Nez posted saying that Ape became the #1 most shorted stock in the entire market. It said Ape just became the #1 shorted stock on Yahoo Finance's top most shorted stocks list. According to Fintel, Ape has 8.9 million shares going to dark pools, with approximately more than 50.6 million shares having been shorted via the New York Stock Exchange. And he said that one can say that Ape, AMC's preferred equity token, is one of the most manipulated securities in the entire market. And the reason why Ape is the #1 most shorted stock in the entire market and why it's so heavily manipulated is because of how important APE is to AMC. As SpongeBob posted, he said if they let APE run up, AMC can issue more dividend shares and generate liquidity to pay down debt and invest into the business. Now that digs the short hedge fund's hole even deeper and destroys the short thesis. Obviously AMC can pay down this debt, pay off those bonds, and therefore it won't be paying out those interest costs and will be profitable on a quarter by quarter basis. AMC will then be classed as a successful profit generative company, destroying the short thesis once and for all. On top of that, AMC could also freely pay out cash dividends or crypto dividends or NFT dividends or whatever kind of dividends they so choose. And therefore these hedge funds and these shorts are manipulating the APE price to hold both tickers back, because that's where all their risk is. At the moment, the APE stock is arguably more important than the AMC stock, as APE allows AMC to repay its debt and repay all of those bonds. At this point, APE is basically the shortcut to the squeeze, as it gives AMC the freedom to do anything that it likes. And on top of Yahoo Finance reporting that APE is the #1 most shorted stock, Yahoo Finance is also reporting that APE has 4 billion synthetic shares. As Nola Pauls tweeted, he said, "Here it is, Yahoo Finance and the Apple stock app. Market cap of $4.5 billion. Divide that by the price and you'd have over 4 billion APE shares being traded." From the Yahoo Finance app, we can see the APE price is 94 cents, but it's showing a market cap of $4.1 billion. $4.1 billion divided by 94 cents is around 4.2 billion APE shares. Now obviously there should only be around 516 million plus the additional 14 million APE shares that Adam Aaron sold, around 530 million shares. Obviously if Yahoo Finance is reporting 4.2 billion, it's reporting billions of synthetic APE shares. On top of that, the Apple stock app is also reporting the same $4.1 billion market cap as reported on Yahoo Finance as well. This just goes to show that right now APE is 100% the most shorted and manipulated stock in the entire market. I also wanted to quickly clear up some FUD with the COSM stock, which is experiencing a mini run-up or a mini squeeze as well at the moment. Now Heaven's Trading Floor tweeted reporting an almost 2,000% short interest for the COSM stock. You can see this screenshot here shows Cosmo Holdings with a near 2,000% short interest and suggesting the short interest has been bouncing around 700 to 900% each day. But Tony Denaro came in with some new S3 COSM data. He said he's been saying for weeks that S3's data wasn't taking into account the recent dilution from the new shares and warrants. S3 Partners updated their short interest for the COSM stock or Cosmo Holdings to now show only a short interest of around 15 or 12%. That's obviously significantly lower than 2,000% short interest, which would mean the float was sold 20 times over. The float on Cosmo Holdings isn't actually sold 20 times over, it was just simply S3 Partners not updating their data. Cosmo recently had a massive share issue when their float went from around 10 million shares up to 180 million shares. We know that right now Cosmo is currently being pushed by a number of different people on YouTube, just like Lou. I'd say, as we always have been over the last year, be careful about these mini pumps and these mini run-ups because they're likely trying to fake you out of your APE and AMC stock. Obviously over the last year we've seen tons and tons of short squeezes like the HKD squeeze, but after it happened HKD fell around 90% if not more. These seem to be small traps to try and convince you to sell your APE and AMC shares to join into the run up late and end up being crushed in that new fake out as well. Especially when data seems too good to be true, like showing 2,000% short interest. A lot of the time unfortunately it is. And therefore I do think it's important not to fall for the FUD and not to be faked out or scared out of your AMC and your APE shares. We know the squeeze is coming, especially now that FTX is gone and especially now that FTX has unveiled these fake and synthetic bitcoins. And again, we know these data providers are now reporting billions of synthetic APE shares, so it's only a matter of time until these shares and these shorts are forcibly covered and closed out of, causing the AMC squeeze. But guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.